What's going on, guys? We're gonna get started here in a few minutes. All right, let's get started. Let's take a look. How's everybody doing? Turn the music down a little bit. Hopefully, you all survived the scam wicks overnight. Got some crazy price action as always while we're sleeping. You know how it is. The Asian markets and London Open seems to be the talk of the town lately. Because every time at like 4 or 5 a.m. to probably around 8, 9 a.m. Eastern is when you see most of the price action. It's pretty funny. I posted a chart in Discord earlier today. This is when I went to sleep around 2 a.m. And then this is when I got back on my PC. I woke up somewhere around here. And then I got back on my PC around here. This is all the bullshit that happened while I was sleeping. We saw a massive kind of little tiny little scam pump. Last little liquidity grab. Then you nuked all the way down. And then you retraced all the way back up. Hit that pivot. Nuked all the way back down. Then retraced back up again. And now we're retracing back down again. This is BitMEX, man. This is Bitcoin overnight. Fun times, man. I have not been trading lately. I've been trying to get back into my like 1 hour trading strategy where like I trade kind of midterms. You guys know I like trading the 1 hour. And I just haven't felt comfortable. Every time I keep looking at the chart, I'm like, all right, I should probably start taking some trades, start looking for some setups. I just don't feel comfortable. And this is almost the exact reason why. Is there's just so much shady stuff happening. I just don't feel comfortable right now trading. So I'm taking a little bit of an extended break. The past like 2 to 3 months combined, I've had less trades than when was that? That was it October? Let me see. Yeah, October and November, I had about 20 trades each. Probably the last 3 months combined, I've had less trades than November. I forgot to post the monthly report for January. I need to do that. The January monthly report was actually really good. So I do need to post that. But yeah, I just haven't felt comfortable trading my normal strategy, the 1 hour kind of mid time frames. You guys know I like trading like the 1 hour to the 4 hour, the kind of like the mid macros is what I call them. Looking for kind of short term intraday setups, and just really haven't seen too many fantastic setups. I wanted to short this. I called this out in stream, where you had this kind of upwards distribution, but then you had a loss in momentum. We talked about this in Discord. When I talked about how this was moving upward, but it was losing momentum, it was losing volume. It looked like a good short. The reason I didn't short it is I had a feeling like shit like this was going to happen. And I did not want to get caught on the wrong side of these scam moves. But if I did short this, it didn't really grab it too heavily. I probably could have shorted this and I would have been okay. It only had a slight little grab there of the high. But yeah, I just haven't really felt comfortable, so I've been working on other things behind the scenes instead of my trading. Like I said, we are going to release a new indicator pretty soon. I've been working on that, trying to polish it up. We have a few other bots that we're working on as well, trying to get those released in the next probably few weeks. Hey, Cash, Pearson, what's going on, guys? Pearson said 5:55 a.m. MST has been my buy the fucking dip time for months now. I'm not sure what time that correlates in Eastern, but it's probably around the morning time. Cash said, I'm not seeing any good area to define risk for a swing trade. Yeah, that's I feel that, man. That's how I feel. I really want to get into a short here, but I could easily see this thing pumping to like 11k. So it's really hard. It's really hard. I would like to start, not like shorting, but I would like to start preserving capital here. I would like to start, like 1x shorting, you know what I mean? Like preserving my USD. The problem is, like I said, I could easily see this continuing upward. It's been so bullish all the way up. I could easily see this thing pumping one more time, to like 11k. So it's hard. It's hard to start shorting here. And like I said, it's hard to take my intraday trades because we have so many of these swings and so many of these crazy movements that are very unpredictable. It's also hard to take the trades on the shorter time frames as well. So it's kind of like it's like a no man's land right now for my trading. If you're a scalper, you love seeing stuff like this. Like obviously you could really scalp the hell out of this, make a lot of money. Which I'll probably start doing. I've been feeling like completely changing up the stream lately. I feel like the stream's getting a little stale. We're kind of doing the same thing every day. I don't really have any topics to go over that I haven't already gone over. There's probably like little videos that I could make, but the majority of the content I've already done videos on. So I feel like I need to make a big change in the stream. So what I'm planning on doing is maybe having like 2 to 3 streams a week, but those streams are going to be way bigger. So Sunday is going to be a big day. If you guys were around for our 24-hour stream and you guys remember what we did with our little trading event where every hour you guys would pick long or short, and then I would long or short on the account, and then at the end of the day, or at the end of the event, I would give the account away. I think I'm going to do something like that, but to make it kind of a longer process, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to start it on a Sunday stream, right? So we're probably going to stream for maybe 5 or 6 hours. We might have to drop it down to like 30 minutes. So like you guys pick long or short every 30 minutes. That might be possible for like shorter time frames. And then we'll build that account, hopefully not liquidate it. We'll build that account for probably a month, right? So we'll start at the beginning of the month and then we'll end at the end of the month. And then we'll give it away at the end, right? Whatever is left on the account, we'll give it away. So we'll probably start doing that. We'll see how that goes. I think people really enjoyed the 24-hour event that we did. People were getting very engaged in the stream. And then for the other stream, I probably don't want to talk about that just yet because I haven't decided. But for the other stream, we'll probably do just like a normal type of analysis like this. We'll maybe do some interdex competitions. So we'll probably start trading the daily competitions on interdex. Do some little scalping here and there. Maybe me and Sticky can play around and do some scalping strategies and whatnot on the interdex competitions. So one day of the week we'll do like interdex competitions. The other day of the week we'll do the trading event stuff. And then for the third day of the week, I don't want to talk about it just yet, but we'll probably do something a little different that I haven't done on stream, basically ever. So probably like 3 days a week and then three special events. I haven't decided when I'm going to start doing when I'm going to start shifting into that, but I feel like it will be a nice change of pace. I think a lot of you guys can agree. Having the same analysis streams 4 times a week, it's just getting a little stale. The daily 21 EMA is critical, 95.50 price. Yeah, the 21 EMA on the daily and the weekly are really strong. Cash said, if you check the stochastics 14.36 settings, the 12-hour has been really good with finding the bottoms of the retraces on this run-up the past month. Yeah, I don't use stochastics anymore. Stochastics, I used to use stock RSI for scalping, and then I started building my own indicators like the Momo and started using these CCI and whatnot. So I found that stochastics just wasn't as accurate, as reliable as these other indicators that I use. I never actually used the regular stochastics too much. I used it a little bit when I was in stock trading and future trading, but never in crypto. One thing that I really love on the 12-hour is the 12 moving average. This thing on Bitcoin has been spot on. You can see how closely it rides price. And you kind of have the little choppiness on the distribution and whatnot, but it still does a very good job of catching the bottoms and catching the tops. You can see here how we're just perfectly riding the price here. And then when you regain it, that gives you nice little signals. Like when you lose it and then you regain it. Kind of like right there and there, right there and there. You get really nice signals. The 12 moving average has always been one of my favorites. I used it back in penny stock trading. I used it in futures. I used it in crypto. My favorite time frame to use it on is the 1 hour for crypto. Because it gives you half a day's worth of data. And then I like using the 72 as well because it gives you 3 days worth of data. So this is the 3-day moving average because 24-hour market, right? 72 hours is 3 days. So you have that 3-day moving average. So over 3 days, that is our average price, 10,195. And look at how we're holding price up right here. We're perfectly holding price up. So these are my two favorite moving averages for crypto. Mainly on the 1 hour. You can use them on other time frames as well. They still work just as fine. But they work best on the 1 hour and the 12 hour. Hey man, what's going on? Yeah, I'm thinking for a swing trade. What I want to see is the first test of kind of this range, right? This didn't really count. I mean, it kind of did, but it's a little scammy. I would want to see a more accurate test of this range. And if this pops up and then starts to kind of reject, I think that would be a good short. For right now, as long as this pivot holds, this is a buy the dip scenario. As long as the pivot holds, and then you could have a scenario like this, where you see almost the same exact move. You grab the high, you nuke, pivot, deviation, and then you pop back above the pivot. So we could see that, where you kind of break below, and then regain the pivot, giving you a Quasimodo. That gave you a Quasimodo right there. Yeah, I know, the scam wicks lately have been insane, especially on Ripple, man. Not sure if you saw the Ripple move. What's the ticker for BitMEX? Here it is. Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Man, people think that crypto is ready to be mainstream. BitMEX is one of the biggest exchanges in the world. And you're seeing shit like this. Oh, you did post it in Discord. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you're the one where I saw it, for sure. Like, this tells you right here, guys. Crypto is not ready. It's not even close to being ready to be in mainstream. This scares the living shit out of, like, everyday investors. Like, real investors, real money. Why the fuck would you want to invest in something that does that? And constantly, I've been bringing up this argument for years now, since I started streaming. And I always have people in chat that try to argue that it happens in equities as well. It happens in equities nowhere near the ratio and how often it happens in crypto. And typically, where it happens in equities is around, like, black swan events or earnings or, like, penny stock trading. It doesn't happen very often in, like, blue chip stocks, big name tech companies, like these big blue chip companies. This shit does not happen. And that's why real investors, they love to invest in these big name blue chip companies in the stock market, because they've been around a long time, they're well regulated. You don't see scammy shit like this. As long as this continues to happen, it will scare the shit out of everyday investors. Now, don't get me wrong, I love trading crypto. I wouldn't say love. I mean, it's like a love-hate relationship. But would I consider it quote-unquote mainstream? No way. No chance in hell. I don't even think we're remotely close to being, like, mainstream. And what I mean by mainstream is, like, you can talk to just about anybody about investing in stocks. Like, even people who are not traders, you can talk to them about investing in stocks, right? You can talk to them about, like, 401ks, Roth IRAs, regular IRAs. You could talk to them about, like, mutual funds and, like, all these other things that they can invest in, right? You can't talk to those same investors about crypto investing. They'll either laugh at you and say that it's scammy bullshit that they would never want to touch, or they don't even know what the hell it is in the first place. Like, there's still a lot of people that don't even know what this shit is. I talk to some of my girlfriend's friends all the time. I tell them I trade crypto and I trade Bitcoin. They don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. If I'm talking to, like, a normie nowadays, I just tell them I invest in... Like, I trade stocks, I trade crypto. I don't try to go in depth and tell them, like, what I do, because a lot of, like, regular people don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Pearson said, amen, that's why Peter Schiff and Kevin O'Leary don't recommend this childish crap. Yeah, like I said, man, I wouldn't recommend this to, like, if I had a boomer friend and they were investing in stocks and they were doing well in, like, mutual funds or whatever. They had a nice 401k. They were doing some little investing here and there. There's no way in hell I would go up to them and be like, hey, man, you should take out a lot of your money and invest it in crypto. There's no fucking way in hell I would do that. And I don't think that day will come for probably the next couple of years. Like, that day where I feel comfortable going up to boomers or people that have been investing for a long time, like longer than I've been alive, and then telling them, hey, you should pull out a lot of your money and put it into crypto. Like, do I think it's a solid long-term investment? Sure, dude. I think crypto is a really good long-term investment. Is it scary as hell to invest a lot of money into? Definitely is. It definitely is. Man said, I don't think many people got liquidated, though, just stopped out. I don't know. I saw some people on Twitter that were saying they got liquidated because their stops didn't trigger. You said because spot price didn't dump that much. It doesn't matter. I think it liquidates. Well, it depends on what your thing is on. It will liquidate you based on the mark price. Problem is that if someone had a stop loss, they got skipped by, yeah, exactly, 30%. Yeah, exactly. They got skipped. The slippage killed them. So, like, if you're trading very high leverage, let's say you had a stop loss. Let's say you had a 10x leverage trade, right? If your stop loss is at, let's say, 5%, or that's probably a little high. Your stop loss is at 2%. That means you're going to lose 20% of your account, right? Okay, if there is slippage of 8%, which is pretty easy on a move like that. Like, how big of a move was that? That was a 60% move. 60%. All it had to do was slip you by 5 to 8% and you're liquidated. 5 to 8% and you're liquidated. If you're trading like 20x or some other ridiculous number, you're getting liquidated easy. No problem. How quick did that happen? Oh, that's literally one candle. That's literally one candle. 100%, if your stop loss was getting slippage, you're liquidated. Oh, you know what? Exocharts actually added. Yeah, I did see that, Cash. Somebody posted their whole account got liquidated. I did see that. Exocharts actually added Ripple. Let's go back and take a look at it. Is it? All my settings are for Bitcoin, so my settings are not going to make sense for Ripple. Does Exocharts... Oh, here it is. Let's go down to the 1 minute. Hey, Nader, what's going on, man? Alright, here it is. Let's look at liquidations. Yeah, it actually doesn't say people were liquidated there. That has to be inaccurate, though. There's no chance in hell this didn't liquidate people. No chance in hell. It says they're being liquidated here instead of here. Liquidations only happen using spot price. It looks like there was like a delayed liquidation. So like it nuked downward, and then when it retraced, it liquidated people. But yeah, the stop losses all got triggered. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so it looks like it liquidated people here, and then it nuked, and then it liquidated people here. After the spot price kind of recalculated. That's pretty disgusting. I actually haven't traded... I haven't traded Ripple USD yet. On, God, man, I can't beat this cold. I haven't traded Ripple USD on BitMEX. Most of the alts on BitMEX are not very liquid. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I've thought about switching to FTX, even though they don't allow U.S. citizens. I have read that you can just do what you do on all the other exchanges, just kind of VPN it, and you can withdraw up to $2,000 a day, which is not a problem. If you need to withdraw more than $2,000 a day, you shouldn't be trading on FTX. I don't like, or you shouldn't be going against KYC because you're trading a stupid amount of money if you're withdrawing that much a day. This bottom does look bullish. You can see we're gaining momentum here. You're back above the pivot. So until this kind of low is taken here, this is definitely bullish for the short term. Like I said, you're still holding that pivot. Did Ethereum have some scammy moves as well? Yeah, Ethereum did. You kind of nuked that high. Retested that pivot, now you're just ranging. Wow, I have not seen that. That is the flattest trail I've ever seen. Look at how flat the trail is. That's actually crazy. Ethereum looks more bullish than Bitcoin, still. You see how Bitcoin, it kind of lost the distribution and you're ranging below it like a bear flag? Ethereum is still distributing in that same range. You didn't really lose that distribution. You're still ranging in that same level. You can see lots of buy pressure coming in too. Look at the wicks. This is always a good sign too. When you see how the wicks are getting higher and higher? Kind of like that. You see what I'm saying here? That shows you that each time price tried to fall, the buyers were stronger and stronger. The buyers bought it up at a higher price, at a higher price, at a higher price, back to back. You have the lowest wick, and then higher, 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 higher. You see how price is maintaining that level. And then you pop back up, scan back down, and you hold that buy pressure. That's right on that 4-hour pivot too. You had 2 taps of that 4-hour pivot. Does not look bad. Same thing on Ethereum. The 12 moving average on the 12-hour is very, very strong. It's 6 days worth of data. This is the 6-day moving average, basically. So, of the past 6 days, the average price is $238. You can see Ethereum still playing out that bull div here. You actually have not tested your doji yet. 290 would be that doji. You know, one thing I want to look at here, let's take a look at the 3-day VWAP indicator. Close all this other stuff. Yes, we're resting, look at that, we're resting right on that 3-day VWAP on Ethereum. Actually, let me pull this up here. Turn these off. Yeah, this is very bullish. You see, constantly climbing 3-day VWAP closes. You retested your 3-day VWAP here. Kind of double bottomed and then popped right off of it. Look at how bullish we were here. You maintained outside of the band. Continued higher. Retesting the 3-day VWAP here. And we're holding. As long as we hold, this is okay. If we fail, you're looking for that lower VWAP and that close there. So 226 and 245. This indicator is free for you guys who are in the Discord. So if you guys are in the Discord, if you don't have access, make sure to message me. Let's take a look at Bitcoin's. Yeah, see, like I said, Bitcoin's is more bearish here. You failed that 3-day VWAP. You're way below it. You're kind of forming a bear flag instead of holding that VWAP level. So you don't see the bulls coming in as strongly on Bitcoin as you do on Ethereum. Same thing here, though. You retested that VWAP, popped up, maintained that high, distributed upward, but then you lost that upper level test. So same thing here, you failed the VWAP, so you went down to test the lower band, and now we want to test kind of these closes and see if they will act as support. If these closes don't act as support, then the bulls that were kind of buying around here and buying around here, they don't want to buy anymore. They're not bullish anymore. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Take a look at Ripple with the VWAP. So not really a lot of data here on Ripple because it's brand new. It's hard to see with that wick as well. But we did break above this level here, broke above the 3-day VWAP, regained it, and then you weren't able to retest it. Stayed above your 3-day VWAP all the way up, tried to find support there, failed your upper bands, and then nuked all the way downward with that scam candle. You can also look at the Ichimoku here on a Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look. The 3-day Ichi, you had that kind of C-clamp form. You're testing the baseline here. You do have a bearish TK cross incoming. You can see the predictions coming in. You do have a thin cloud below us, but not a whole lot of support. 4 hours, same thing. Flat cloud being tested. You have a bearish cross incoming. 12 hours, still 100% bullish. The Tenkan line is holding price up here. Take a look at the longer time frames. Look at the 3-day. 3-day edge to edge is complete. You're a little far off your Tenkan and baseline. You do have a bullish Kumo twist, though. And look back on the history of Bitcoin. The Kumo cloud has been very, very good at predicting the long-term trend of Bitcoin. You can see how we had the bearish TK, or the bearish Kumo here, the bullish Kumo here. You have to understand that these are pushed forward 26 bars. So when you want to find out where they twisted, you have to go back 26 bars. So like this one twisted here, indicated that trend going up. This one twisted back here during the dump. So when it regained here, that cloud was acting as resistance all the way down. Same thing back here. You had your bullish twist way back here. And what is that? October 2016. And then you were bullish all the way up. And now we are getting that bullish twist here. But the difference that we're seeing currently than we saw from like previous price action, is the distance between kind of where Bitcoin is now and where that Kumo is twisting. We could easily nuke back down to this cloud towards like 87, and we would still have support. So even though we would see a massive correction, a 20% correction, this would still be indicated as a bullish trend on the Kumo. So you don't see that typically on the other breakouts. The weekly is going to have a TK cross pretty soon. You have a thin Kumo red, but you are going to probably shift bullish pretty soon. What's going on, Sneaky? Hey, Sneaky, I appreciate that. 13-month resub. Let me see if my button works. Hey, it's working. There we go. Appreciate that resub, man. Welcome back. 13 months. One of our longest subs on the channel. I do appreciate the support. Oh, I need to fix my settings here. Should I stop market buying alts? If you want to stay away from the scams that are happening lately, probably. Like the XRP USD scam candle. Yeah, we're still white on the daily. Still very white. We shifted white down here at 73. Been white all the way up. The weekly is also still white. The 3-day is still white. The 3-day is very clean on the OTS colors. You can see how early it shifted black here. Same for the daily. The daily shifted black pretty early as well. You can see how clean it predicted all the pullbacks. See how all the pullbacks shifted black, black to white, black to white, black to white, black to white, black to white. Very clean. This was my main strategy I went over on stream. This is the strategy that I was using in the beginning of, or sorry, the end of 2019. Was just using the 4-hour color shifts with the Momo. I stopped using it because we started getting very, very choppy. Like back here. So I stopped using it towards like November, December. I should have started using it again towards like the end of December. It would have made me a lot of money. That's hindsight though, obviously. Are there any gaps on the scene? Yeah, I think there are a couple of gaps left. Let's take a look. I have these drawn out on my other chart. Oh, look at that. We're very close. We almost tested that daily doji. That daily doji was missed by $30. $30. It was playing these levels beautifully. Let's look for gaps here. Where are my gaps? Here we go. So we had a gap here that got filled. Let's see. I don't see any other gaps. I think that's it. There was that gap that got filled instantly. And that's it. We have a gap below us here that almost is completely filled. I do need to fix this a little bit. We have a little tiny gap around the 200 moving average on the 4 hour, around 91. And that's about it. We got these gaps way back here, but most of them have been filled. This broke above this level. It's actually retesting as support. This is very weird price action. This is not common at all. And we talked about this on stream like last week, where we were talking about the rising wedge on Bitcoin. It's so funny because this is a very, very bearish pattern in like equities. It's very bullish in Bitcoin for some reason. The rising wedge breaks to the upside, I'd probably say more than it breaks to the downside on Bitcoin. And not only is it breaking to the upside, it's retesting the wedge as support. Very, very uncommon. This is very strange. Hopefully it nukes, yeah. I really would like to see a pullback to grab at least one liquidity zone. What I mean by liquidity zone is like all of these lows. All of these lows have not been grabbed. You see all these pivots? These pivots are not being tested. I would really like it to pull back and at least grab one of these lows. Like grab that low, grab this one, grab this one, grab this one. Like any of these. I would be happy with one of them. Like if it wants to grab two, that'd be fantastic. But if it came back down and grabbed this low and then retraced upward, I think that's a very good sign to buy. I like buying test of supports or like grabs of liquidity, right? That's why I haven't longed like any of this. So you guys in Discord are probably sitting around waiting for me to long. I've just been sitting back collecting USD value. I have not longed this because I wait for higher probability setups, right? Setups that I like to trade. I don't like FOMOing into stuff like this. I missed my opportunity. It sucks, but that's my trading. I kind of have to sit back and just pay for my mistake of missing it. I could take lower time frame trades, but as I said, I just don't feel comfortable in this market structure right now. But yeah, if I saw one of these liquidity grabs and then it retested, basically like this. You see how it grabbed this level right here? See how it grabs this level and then it breaks it? That would have been a good long there. The same thing. If it like grabs this level, these would be good longs. That's what I'm waiting for. Can you check the stochastics that I mentioned? I could take a look at it. What did you say earlier? You said 14.36 on the 12 hour. Are you are you just referring to like the regains of the 20? Or are you referring to the crosses? What are you referring to? Whenever it crossed up, it was a bottom of the retrace. Since we got bullish in January. Okay, so you're talking about the cross ups. You're talking about like these. Yeah, I see what you're saying. You could probably do this a similar thing on an indicator that I much prefer. Is the Fisher. I think I have one here. Let me see. I don't use it anymore, but I used to use it for something very similar than what you're doing right now. Here it is. Fisher transform. This one. So let me make these lines a little thicker so you guys can see them on stream. That might make it worse, honestly. I'll zoom in a little bit. Very similar. They're actually crossing at almost the same exact time. Yeah, very, very similar. I used to use the Fisher for basically what you're talking about, like looking for pullbacks. You might like this, man. Test it out. If you like the stochastics, check out the Fisher Transform by Ehlers. You'd probably like it a lot. It works very well on basically any time frame. You can see how it does very well on the longer time frames as well. I think a lot of you guys would probably like this indicator. You guys can test it out. It's a little slow. It's a little slow. But as oscillators go, it's not as bad as a lot of the other ones. It's like faster than MACD and like RSI. But it is a little slow. It also doesn't do well in scenarios kind of like this. Like accumulation distribution. It doesn't do that well. You can see how it chops up and down. Sorry guys, I'm talking to Sticky about some other stuff. What's different about it compared to stocks? I'm not entirely sure, man. I don't, like I said, never really use stocks, and I didn't really use Fisher for that long either. So I don't know like the intricate like formulas and whatnot. You'd have to look them up on like Investopedia. Not entirely sure on that one. Okay, so now we're not bullish anymore on the 15. So I was saying we were bullish earlier because we were staying above that pivot, right? Now we're losing that pivot. So the bias on the 15-minute is shifting bearish for now. The 1 hour is still slightly bullish, but you are bearish on the OTS. I'm looking to enter a swing 98.50 to 95.50. 98.50. Yeah, it's basically like that same level I was talking about. Just grabbing that low. 95.50 would be the pivot. You get the pivot and you got that low. You're basically looking for kind of the regain of that level. The problem is, what's scary about uptrends like this is there are so many lows that haven't been tested. It could easily, like I said, it could go for 1, it could go for 2, it could go for 3, it could go for 4. It could easily nuke all of these lows. That's the problem with these trends that leave these lows open. When they grab the lows on the way and like retest, it's so much better. It's much healthier long term. But you can still, like I said, you could still look for dips here as long as it maintains. Problem is, it could easily take this. It could easily take this. So you have to watch out for the selling volume. Look at that 12 hour. That's disgusting. 12 hour massive wick. You can see the sell pressure coming in. Look at that sell pressure coming in. These pivots line up perfectly on the 12 hour with what I was talking about. You have those lows that want to be tested. So basically all of these pivots on the OTS gave you beautiful buy signals when you retested them. We're currently seeing a retest of the 4 hour, which gave you a beautiful buy signal. But we are coming to retest it again. You can see the 1 minute pivots acting as resistance. Lost the blue pivot again, lost that blue pivot. So very bearish here short term. Very bearish. Did you guys see mana, by the way? I closed mana in January for like a 25% gain because it was just taking way too long to break out. And of course, what I do every time with mana, I've done this 3 times now. I closed mana before a major announcement and it fucking mooned. My last 3 mana trades, I've closed for a 25% profit, a 12.5%, and then I think like a 20 to 30%. And every single time, within a week or two, they had a major announcement that got released after I closed, and then they mooned. The second time, the 12.5%, literally within, I think, 10 minutes. And we did that live on stream. Yeah, I'm not mad about it, man. It's just so funny how my timing always is terrible. Oh, but another thing, I told you guys about this a long time ago. Mana has a massive insider trading problem. They started mooning before the announcement even came out. So if you guys didn't see the announcement, Mana is like fully tradable on Coinbase Pro now. So it was tradable before, but it's like fully tradable now. And they were already mooning before that announcement even came out. And this has happened the past like 4 major announcements. They'll like moon for a couple days or even the day before, and the announcement will come out the next day. It's really bad for Mana, but it seems like it still works out. It's still going up. But yeah, I literally closed this here during this little pullback. My average was about 30 cents, I believe. I closed for like 36, 37. And then boom, all the way up to 70. I could have made over 100%. That would have been a nice payday. Happened with IOTA? Yeah. Or happened to you with IOTA? Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, like I said, I'm not mad about it. It's just kind of funny. What do I think about EOS? I'll take a look. Pretty solid breakout. I have some really old analysis here. Let me delete this. Pretty solid breakout. You're breaking above a daily pivot. Not a whole lot of resistance in this range. Go to like a weekly. Actually, you do have some resistance coming up on this low here. Distribution on the 1 hour. Nice pivot acting as support. Yeah, I'd probably say you're safe to buy the pivot until it's broken. It's already given you like 4 buys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buys. So it might be getting a little weak. But you do have a little bit of a distribution here. You break above the distribution, could be pretty solid. You do have a lot of resistance coming in on the weekly. Around 557. 558. You are forming a weekly pivot as well, so you're getting a little exhausted. Probably, if you're waiting for a major buy, I would definitely wait for a daily pullback. You're very extended on the daily. The daily has sell pressure. You're very extended off your 12, off your trail, off your pivots. I'd probably wait for a bigger pullback if you're looking for a big buy. Yeah, I can take a look at forex. I just hate forex charts. I think they're the ugliest thing I've ever seen. They have the ugliest charts. Like, look at how disgusting this is. Yeah, I'd say this range has been going on for so long, there's no reason to trade against it. You would just be buying the lows, selling the highs. There's no reason to fight a range that's been going on for 5 years. So I would just be buying the lows, selling the highs. Very, very simple on this one. This is a 5-year range. Yeah, 50 minute. 50 minutes getting nuked. You have like a rising wedge. You're coming into the 72 moving average. You're also coming into a little bit of support back here. You can see there's a pivot. There's a pivot right here, which lines up kind of with the bottom of the wedge. But yeah, I'd say you're definitely bearish until you regain that that level. But overall, like I said, on like the monthly, you're just in a massive range. So if you're shorting this, there's really there's not much you can get, maybe 2%, and you're fighting against a lot of buy pressure. If you're longing, it would be more of a long-term trade. You'd be looking for at least like the middle of the range, probably around $1, maybe $1.02. But yeah, short-term, 15-minute, you're definitely pulling back. If you're able to regain the trail, it gives you a nice little buy signal. That'd be okay. If you can regain the 12 moving average, that'd be okay. Beautiful pivot test down here that bounced off the low, and then you're having a pivot test here. Kind of front running it a little bit, but you do have some bearish pressure coming in. But yeah, I'd say just don't try to fight against that 5-year range. It works until it doesn't. It's been working for 5 years. No reason to say it's going to stop now. He said I only scalp on forex with 1 hour and lower time frames, so that 5-year range doesn't mean much to me. Well, you always, even when you're scalping, like I do the same thing with crypto. Even when you're scalping, you need to look at like the longer term to see where you are. Because like if you're, like what's a good example here? Like here's a good example. Like if you're scalping like the 15-minute, 1 hour, whatever on Bitcoin, and you're like looking for like shorts down here, you don't want to be shorting for very long because you're shorting like an accumulation, you know what I mean? So you don't want to get caught in a scalp that's just going to get destroyed on the longer time frame. Because this is what happens when longer time frames take over. When longer time frames take over, it's very hard to scalp in those scenarios. Like if you're scalping during something like this, or maybe even something like this, you want to understand where you are in the grand scheme of things. Like what would be a good example on the forex chart I was talking about? If you're like right on that range low and you're trying to scalp a short, that's a bad trade in my opinion. Because like you're on a 5-year range low that's held for 5 years and you're trying to short it, you're most likely going to lose that trade. That's just a wasted trade. You said I'm trading a 15-minute. I have significant daily levels. Yeah, there you go. So as long as you're looking at something, um, as long as you're looking at something that's like a higher time frame where you understand your significant levels, you should be okay. Yeah, I can look at AUD. This is gonna be the last thing I look at, and then we're gonna end the stream. AUD looks pretty bearish. You are breaking a pivot. You retested it as resistance. You're just continuing kind of a bear flag downward. Yeah, weekly looks pretty ugly as well. You're below the range here. You're coming into a lot of support, so long term you have a lot of support coming in, but you haven't even begun to bounce yet. It looks pretty ugly. Until you regain this pivot, I would say you're bearish. Regain your trail, regain the pivot. It was a buy. It was the same buy scenario you just explained on the daily. If you're talking about this one, not really. I can see what you're talking about. This is a Quasimodo though. This is a textbook Quasimodo. I don't see that on AUD. Yeah, I don't really see that. Kind of, if you're taking like this level. But I would still wait for it to regain like this. Like this is a picture perfect retest of support. You're not really getting that on AUD. This is definitely slightly bullish because you're testing this buy pressure, right? You see all those wicks? You're testing the buy pressure and you're bouncing out of it. It's just too soon to long this in my opinion. If you're trading a long-term range, like look at how big this range is. You don't have to try to catch the bottom on this. This range is massive. You could wait for the regain of this pivot and it looks way better. This looks way better than this. But you could take this trade with a stop loss kind of below the pressure. This wouldn't be a terrible trade. It would be like a knife catch trade, so I wouldn't put too much money into it. But it wouldn't be an awful trade. Because all of this buy pressure here is really strong. It just doesn't look like it's confirmed. So like this would be basically taking the trade not confirmed. This would be taking the trade confirmed. And look, like I said, look at how big this range is. You could target like half the range and you'd be okay. Like that would be a nice profit. You said you were in on Monday, out on the day. You were out on the day, I gotcha. You did that basically, yeah. Yeah, like that's not a terrible trade. I mark areas that have hella wicks as liquid zones, but consolidation areas with candle closes as order blocks. Yeah, I've got a video on what I'm talking about here. Like if I call these pivots, but I've just renamed it to buy pressure, sell pressure because I have these pivots now, and I don't want people to get confused. So I used to call these pivot zones, like pivots, but I don't call them pivots anymore. I just call it buy pressure, sell pressure. But anywhere that has a lot of wicks, like you see how this has a lot of wicks, that is buy pressure. So like you could have taken a long here, and you could have put a stop loss below the buy pressure, and you would have been okay. And then look at this, you have a lot of sell pressure. You could have taken a short, stop loss above the sell pressure. As long as you didn't get in before that wick, you'd be okay. Oh yeah, you see it a lot on everything. You see it on equities, you see it on crypto, you see it on forex. It's a very good technique. I just showed you guys that here. You can see it on Bitcoin, on the 12-hour. Lots of sell pressure. So like you could have shorted this, or you could wait for a retest, and you just put your stop loss above the sell pressure, and hope that you don't get scam wicked. You got to be careful in crypto among all the other markets because it gets scam wicked a lot more. Excuse me, it gets scam wicked a lot more. I can't beat this cold, man. My throat has been fucked up for like 2 weeks. What's today? Thursday? It's been a week and a half. I'm not taking any medicine though. That's probably why. But yeah. So multiple wicks, sell pressure, buy pressure, depending on where it is. Swing failures in forex on low time frames work wonders too. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of people on forex. They use like what do they call them? Like breakers or whatnot. But all right, guys, I'm gonna end stream on that. I appreciate you guys being by for the live stream. I will be streaming again on Saturday and Sunday. I'll let you guys know on Twitter when I'm going live. Not sure on Saturday. Sunday should be normal time, kind of around 6 p.m. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm looking to change up the stream pretty soon. We're going to be doing some kind of bigger streams. We're doing more events like we were on the 24-hour event that we had. I'll probably do some more trading competitions and whatnot. I think the stream's getting a little too stale, and I want to spice it up a little bit with some more events and whatnot. So we're going to be revamping the stream pretty soon, probably within the next week or two. So I'll let you guys know, like on stream and on Twitter, what we're doing. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys being here. I'll be streaming again, like I said, Saturday, Sunday. Hope to see you guys then. If I don't, hope you guys have a good weekend. And we still have our discount going on for Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, we have 20% off, and you get an extra invite code. So if you sign up right now, instead of getting one invite code, you get two. So if you and a buddy want to split the cost or whatever you want to do, you can do that. The code is Valentine's. Use code Valentine's, 20% off Discord, plus an extra invite code. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace out.